Nothing lasts forever, of course, except some of them tattoos. And as the 50s turned to the 60s, the golden era of the teddy boys was gradually ending. And a new set of teenagers were finding other movements to latch onto, in the shape of the mods, the rockers, and later the hippies. But there was a genuine revival of Teds in the early 70s. Probably the sons of the originals, or maybe just a new set of teenagers that didn't want to join in with any of the other tribes that were around at the time.
I came into it with the revival, really, late 60s, early 70s, so it's a bit different for me. We were like the young Teds, really, and we really looked up to guys like Frank when we were younger, They were the old boys then, and yeah, we sort of carried it on from you, really, didn't we? Yeah.
I came onto the teddy boy scene in about 1972 when I was at school, and although the 50s were well gone by 1972, it was a style that I liked. It was something that had influenced me years and years ago when I went in my Uncle Jack's, a moggy traveller down Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and I actually saw a group of teddy boys round about what must have been 60 to 61 still around, and that image of them held on for life.
I got into it by my next door neighbour, funnily enough. He was a Ted and lived next door to me. He was 10 years older than me, and I can remember standing up in my mother's bedroom looking out the window and seeing them all arrive in their American cars and Crestas and classic British cars, and I used to think to myself I'd love to go off with them, and it started from there, really. I loved the scene, the way they were dressed, all the girls. I mean, for me, during the 70s, you think of the 70s, all long hair, hippies, flared trousers. I mean, you could say we stood out.
There was no finer to buy her, you can all just see.
Je suis un teddy boy. Je suis un teddy boy.
In the last sort of 10 years, the teddy boy movement has moved overseas. And these teddy boys in mainland Europe have adopted the styles that possibly what we were wearing in the 1970s. So if you like, they've come back to the 1970s, but they haven't really thought about the original 1950s. And I'm saying I can't condemn these people because they were doing exactly what we were doing in the 1970s. And all we're trying to do now in the teddy boy movement, we're trying to go back to the original style.
Exquisite to the touch, immediately I knew that.
As with any revival, there were those that jumped on the bandwagon, and 70s groups like Shawaddy Waddy and Mud took the original teddy boy look and totally glammed it up.
In the 70s, the Ted thing, sometimes it kind of went downhill with Shawaddy Waddy because people got the wrong end of the stick and that was rubbish.
I'm not all that keen on Matty myself. You don't see a bloke wearing a drape with long hair. And somebody had.
It's not just the colours of their brightness of their drapes, it's not that, it's the long hair.
Mm.
I mean, you can understand a person if he hasn't got much hair, so that he hasn't got a quiff, fair enough, he can't help that. But some of those have got hair and they wear long hair with a drape, doesn't, to me, go.
The style had changed by the 1970s, and part of the problem was that the glam rock image had started to appear with Gary Glitter, Shawaddy Waddy. And I have to say right now, unequivocally, Shawaddy Waddy has nothing to do with being a teddy boy. It's an abhorrence as far as we're concerned, and basically it gets 10 strikes and it's out.
Right, so not very keen then. But pop groups cashing in is one thing. A younger generation embracing the look and the lifestyle, making sure the flame never dies, is another. And today, there are quite a number of new generation Teds who've been inspired by their forefathers to keep the real spirit of the Teddy Boy movement very much alive.
My dad showed me a photo of my granddad, and he was obviously married in a drape to my nan, and from then on I was just like, I want to get into it as well, Dad, from very, very young. And then it just went from there, and obviously my dad's a Ted, and he always has been, and my granddad, so they've always wanted everybody to get into it, and my whole family's into it, aunties, uncles, everyone.
I love dancing, I love jiving, bopping, everything. It's just brilliant. And you just don't get that in the modern day scene.
We are living it. We couldn't live without it, could we? I feel like I couldn't live without it now, because it's just the dress and everything. I love the dress sense, and I love, you know, being a lady. Like, you don't get that anymore. You get people showing off and that. You don't get that on the rock and roll scene. You just get to be a lady and be respected by Teds, and Teds do respect you all the time, and I wouldn't be anywhere else.
And also, when you're up there jiving, dancing, you don't get people in the back. If someone can't dance, they won't stand there and take the piss or take the mickey out of anyone.
There's never, you know, loads of
not at all.
Fighting or anything like that. It's not like that.
So there used to be, like, in the 50s.
Yeah, back in the day, but the scene's very different now, but still living exactly the same, without the rebellious and the anger of the Teds.
There used to be a big, with the Teds, the Edwardian Teds and the Rockabillys, they used to hate each other. But now, you go to the same gigs, same weekenders as each
friends,
other.
Aren't we? We're friends with everybody, Rockabillys.
You get on with everyone now.
They're the new generation of Teds coming up. I mean, what we're going to be in Zimmer frames, and we'll all be here, and there'll be not another generation to take it on. No, we love it when there's youngsters there.
Our influence, the Edwardian Drape Society, the Wildest Cats in Town, which has spread the word, I mean, all over Europe, everywhere.
Teddy Boys, when they go out now, are wearing a more authentic style of clothing than certainly what they were in the 1970s.
If I was to be able to go back in time and live the 50s era, I would do. I would.
It'd be the best moment of our lives, wouldn't it? We're just
Honestly,
having to live it for everybody
We have to live it in the future from then.
We didn't get the chance to have it, so we're making it now.
It's brilliant, honestly, it's so good.
So, where do those original Teds and new generation rock and rollers get to go and have some fun? Well, thanks to the likes of Richie G from the Edwardian Drape Society, who puts on weekenders like the Wildest Cats in Town, you get to enter a 50s time warp and experience the look and feel of those heady times in days gone by.
I think the business of the rock and roll weekenders and you know, things like Wildest Cats in Town is what it does, it brings families together so that the whole family can actually go out to that weekend and enjoy it and have fun. And, you know, it's not everybody who's into rock and roll or not immediately into rock and roll. And then they come along to one of these weekends and they actually realise how friendly people are.
Oh, little ones as well, yeah. In fact, one year we had, we do it every year now, but we got a little trophy, haven't we, for
best dressed young Ted.
Yeah, best dressed young Ted.
One from France won it last year.
Yeah. Well, he was about 10, wasn't he, I think?
Something like that.
Yeah. Had little creepers on, and yeah.
people of like minds doing the same thing. And that's really what the Teddy Boy movement's about. It's about bringing people together with the same mindset and the same taste.
So there you have it. Teddy Boys flexing their teen spirit and the era that started it all. 1950s Britain, which finally allowed the teenagers to surface and to ask for more than they were told to have. The Teds felt they were onto something really new and exciting that was theirs and theirs alone. A wonderful feeling that's been adopted and shared by different teenagers ever since. A feeling that the young can dare to be different and are entitled to go out and find themselves an identity and attitude. And there's no denying the Teddy Boys and the rock and roll generation had all of that and more.
How can I say, you had your own music, you had your own way of living, and that's what we wanted, independence. And as it come through, I mean, today is what we were yesterday.
You live the life, it is a way of life. End of beginning and end, isn't it?
I think there's two words to being a Teddy Boy. Attitude and passion, and rock and roll.
As I say, we said there's only two forms of music, rock and roll.
Yeah, I went through a lot of trouble to keep it, but it was always there in all teenagers' hearts, you know what I mean? It was brilliant.
Rock and roll is a living, a whole lot of living, and I love to live this rock and roll, and I shall go on, keep on going until they ring my daughter and say, your mother died on the dance floor.
You've got such a life in it, you don't need anything else.
No, that's it.
That's why I look at
you
it.
live rock and roll.
I'm happy and I'm sure I'm not going to change now.
Yeah.
We've been together 46 years and I don't think I'm going to change.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's going to be rock and roll until we die.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say rock and roll will never end, and it won't. It won't.
When I'm gone in my box, we still got Teddy Boys, still got rock and roll music, and that never end. Yeah, I reckon, good.
Tomorrow night, the thrilling adaptation of Barbara Taylor Bradford's Act of Will. Liz Hurley stars at 10. But next, fascinating rare footage of 60s icons in sex, drugs and rock and roll. The 60s revealed.